knit family, and not having them is like, oh, gosh, wow, you know, it's rough. But needless to say, all right, YouTube, I am officially live. I was talking away my Instagram family. I'm talking away. So Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy day as I get into the topic of who needs life insurance. And I'm going to get into a little detailed questions that I've gotten, and I want to be able to address them and just add some more insight as relates to about your financial house and the foundation of your financial house, which is the life insurance hashtag. Entering into this season of the holiday season, as I shared, it is truly one of the most difficult, the first, right? Those first moments in anything for that matter, it is really, really challenging and difficult for me and my family, and having to deal with the first. It's a conscious decision and being prayerful. And so we are entering into a very prayerful season that the Lord will give us the strength. I know those of you that are out there listening are praying for our strength as well. We appreciate it. We appreciate the texts and the phone calls, the encouragement, because this will be the first time, as I shared, without the first two men who ever loved me, and that's my father, great father, and my brother, right, my only sibling, my brother. And so, as we're getting into that time, as I said, that God not only give us strength, but also give you strength as well. If you are entering that season of, remember, maybe it happened a couple of years ago, but needless to say, it's and so we don't negate the it. It was say, just get over it. No, you don't get over it, but through God's strength, you get through it, right? You find ways, you find groups, right? You find mentors, you therapists, whatever it is that's going to help you to navigate so you don't get stuck in that season, of doom and gloom, of grief and depression, because you can definitely get there. So it's finding the help. And I can tell you, it has been so helpful that we have been involved with a grief, having to sit with others who are navigating the same waters, and hearing the stories and the similarities, and just being there for each other has been such an eye opener. And I'm so glad for them to try and figure it out. And we hear this time heals all wounds. I mean, yes, it does, but I want to be victorious. So, needless to say, I want to talk about who needs it and exactly what is life insurance income protection. And so, oftentimes we hear that life insurance is only for burial. Just for burial. Let me say, and help bury a loved one, but after the loved one is gone, right? And there's people that are left lying. There's a spouse, right, that is left down. Maybe there's a or somebody you're taking to. There's children left behind, and if that person, or right, that individual was someone that provided for their loved ones, and now that person is no longer there, does that family still have the ability to continue to live? Can they sustain their life with the loss of that loved one? And if the answer to that is no, then life insurance needs to be in place. The other thing too, if you're single, right, and I talk about this, does life insurance need to place? Yes, because there are benefits, right? Living benefits. If you depend on your income, right, and something happens, you become sick or disabled, whatever the case may be, then the policy has the ability right, to pay you. It's not a loan against the policy, right, but it will pay you to help you navigate through to convince you about whole or life or any of that. What I'm here to do is to give you information so you can make proper sound decisions. For me, the clients in which are clients that a lot more need more coverage and not have to spend a whole lot of money, but also with the intent of living life longer. So I also offer investment as well, right? So no matter what stage of life that they're in, that they're not just good, but they can be great at the different stages of life and helping them to make informed decisions. All right. So let me just preface that. And so now you may say with the life insurances, and the question is who needs it? Everybody. As noble and as kind and helpful as a GoFundMe or a fish fry when somebody passes and a family is unable to pay for arrangements, they're very noble. However, they do not sustain the family. It sustains the family for maybe for a little bit, and depends how much is raised from it. Okay, and so that's why when we are in our sound mind and we can make a sound decision, right? This is a time that we have life insurance and not just what you're going to get from work. Why is that? Because heaven forbid if you become ill or something and your policy is just from work and you are no longer working, right after a period of time, they can take that away, right? Because it is it. But if you're not there working, then what's the sense of them paying for something? And a lot of times, the amount that you get is not enough. I remember being in the educational system, and the amount that they gave you, right? You can always purchase more. Was like 20 something thousand, which I can say is not a whole lot. It's not going to help. It's not going to sustain a family. It may help with just a burial. You're right, just burial, or just a funeral, but that ain't it. That's it. It's not going to help a family to sustain their life after the loss of the loved one, right? So that's why you always want to put yourself in a position where you are in control. That it's not you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. That you have something private. That if you become to a point where you cannot qualify, that you cannot qualify, then what ends up happening is that you have something already in place, right? And it's not going to be taken away because you've had it before any of the illness or whatever has happened. You've had it in place. So that's why it's important that you have something private outside of your employee. Now, the next question is, how much do I need? How much do I need? Well, I want you to think about your family expenses. I want you to think about the ages of your children. If your children are of age where they're adults, right? They're in college, okay, and you've been paying for tuition, how much tuition is needed to sustain that? Or you have a house and you still have a mortgage, and you still have a mortgage, right? Do you have enough where that mortgage could be sustained or paid off? If there, what are the expenses that are monthly to make sure that your family is taken care of so they don't have to move out of their house, right? Or they have to make other living arrangements or live with family because they cannot afford to be in their home. So that is going to help determine how much you need. Now, maybe sometimes initially you cannot afford the amount, maybe it's a couple of millions that you need, right, for the different stages of your family's life. But you start with where you are. You start somewhere, right? Because something is better than nothing, right? And you work towards that. There are some policies that will allow you to well, you don't have to pre-qualify. Once you qualify once, you don't have to qualify again, that it would automatically increase every couple of year or so. Of course, the premium goes up, but what it allows is that you can have more. And then if you want more, right, because now you can afford more, then you can do so as well. So that's what's going to help determine how much you need. Now, the policy is self. And before I get that, what are the qualifications? Let me say that. What's the qualifications that are needed to qualify for life insurance? So there's a couple of things that are you want to consider. Health, if there's pre-existing, some companies cannot um, provide a policy. Some companies can, just maybe at a higher premium, less coverage. Yes, a series of speeding tickets or different types of violations, you can be denied certain parts or policy, or you can be denied for a period of time and then maybe have to reapply. Sometimes, unfortunately, I've had some clients who had to was or a risk. I've had some that were qualified and then they couldn't get certain living benefits, right, until a certain period of time. And so you want to be mindful that your driving record can affect your policy. Did you know? Now you know. The next thing, your driving record, I've talked about health, your age, qualified by your age. The younger you are, the less it is, right? So the sooner you can start, the better it is for your pocket. So we want to be mindful of that. And you also want to be mindful, heaven forbid, if you ever been incarcerated, right? You however, you can still get denied. You can still get denied life insurance. Anyone that you will check by doing what are the things that they check? What things do they check when I talk about the health? So some policies will allow you where you can do blood work, and if you are in great condition, do the blood work because you can get a, a better rate. A lot of times, what can end up happening, you can get quoted at run rate. But then if you're in great health and you meet the parameters, what they will do, because you've met those criterias. Now, the other thing too that I want you to be mindful for is that when you do have your your blood work and it does not come out great, that when it does improve, you have a reconsideration. Usually it's a couple of months you have to wait. Sometimes it's about a year that you have to do it, but you can do that. Okay. And you have policies where you do not have to do any blood work whatsoever. However, they don't have access to your medical records because there is a, yes, I want you to understand this. There is a database that you can still request it because of what was seen in the medical bureau. Okay, the MBI, that's what it's called. They can still find out. And don't mean that they're gonna say no, right? It all depends on the situation. So those are some things to be mindful for. Now, that has applied usually is the one that pays for the policy, and they choose who the beneficiary are. Okay, and you can have what is called who will get the payout, right? Heaven forbid, you can have what is called a contingent. That means the primary beneficiaries were no longer here or not able to see it, and so it will go to the contingent. Now, when it comes to this, and if you have children and your children are not 18 years or older, they will not get that money until they are of age. And that when they do, they can get it when they are of age. So you can choose that custodian that is paid out to them, right, until your children come of age, right? So even if you put them on there, the insurance company is not going to pay 1,000 or 200 or 1,000,000 to a child. All right, they have to be of that. Now, the question sure that means they're covered, and they could be the payer of the policy, or it can be where there's a person that's insured and you relate husband or a wife or grandparents or somebody, right? That they can have coverage on their loved one, they be the payer. That is fine, right? You just have to make sure you ask your particular insurance company, but that is fine as well. So if you have children and I want to make sure that my children are covered and they are adults, well, you can have them insure the policy on their behalf. Okay, you can definitely have that, because I do have that as well with some of my clients. Now, the next thing I want you to consider as you are planning out and thinking about the life insurance, right? I want you to think about how much you can afford. Enough, but it's what you can afford. That's why I say it's important that you start at where you are. Now, if you're doing a term, and the policy, like some of the policies I do, the highest it goes is 35 years. The term, right, have term where there is an investment to go along with it. Don't do term without the investment. I encourage you. It's important, because when the term goes out, it can revert back to a term, so it's not dead in the water. The only thing that happens is that you'll have less coverage, right? Or you can keep the same amount of coverage, but now you are older, so it's going to be more. What you want to do is that you can get to a point where you can be self-insured, because now you've had the term policy, but along with it was an investment. And so you don't no longer continue to grow, your loved ones and what have you. All right. So you can do that. So I will encourage you have term, that you also have an investment. The other wonderful thing with term, it gives you more coverage. It's different benefits. I don't, I'm not going to knock it, right? You just have to understand how to use it wisely and properly, and know that if you borrow against it and something happens, they're going to make sure the insurance company is going to get what you borrowed. The beneficiary is going to get less. And if there is money, right, in the policy, and you have a whole life, right, you have a get both, as opposed to when you have a term and there is a investment, the beneficiary will get both the investment and the life insurance. All right. So just a couple of things to be mindful according to what you're trying to get monthly. It can be paid quarterly, or it can get quarterly, or it can be paid annually. Once again, it all depends on your budget, right? But that is what you're looking are in place. It's within your budget. So listen, we're coming up against now the ending the ending of the year, and as soon as the end of the year comes, is tax season. Coming to have some haven't looked at your policy, and you do update it. If you need to change the beneficiary, if you have a change in life, or you've had more children and they're not on it, and know that some policies, one of the policies are covered same price. So, okay, if it's 10 children, right, and you have a child rider, then the child rider covers all of the children, right? Right, for the $7 or whatever it might, $15, whatever the premium. You work and pay your own policy. Okay, we're teaching our children to be responsible adults, right? Teaching them to be responsible adults with that. So, with that being said, if you have any questions, right, specifically to your plan, by all means, you can hit me up, send me a message. Facebook, you can respond on Instagram, on YouTube, and I can also share with you my link. It's a question if you just need some clarity on just your policy. By all means, I would love to do that, because I want you to help sound the financial decision as it relates to building your financial house. But not only that, I want you to understand that if you have a business, your business can also be insured. You have there's a couple of there's a different types depending on your business needs, what type of business, who needs to be encourage you in that one. If you have a business, that's something you can look into to help sustain your business, which is going to help sustain your legacy as well. So with that being said, I hope this was informative. Share this video, that you like it as well. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to it. You on Instagram page, follow. All right, follow Teacher Melanie, the teacher of money. All right, make sure you do that. So like I always say, you share it out, and anything I can do to help your family or whatever it is to make sure that you are building your financial house right and tight, by all means. As I said, this is the foundation, is life insurance. And so next week, when I come back, and I'm going to leave little posts here and there, I'm going to talk about the next level, which is putting on, and that is estate planning. Okay, estate planning. Estate planning is not for the rich; it's for everybody. What things you can be able to put in. God is still in the business of doing miracles. Make it a great day, Liz.